All right, guys, welcome to episode 1 of What If, where we put in some weird scenarios into NHL 22 and let it pump out a season to see what would happen if we pump in crazy scenarios. I'm Crash Andrews. You can check me out at twitch.tv/CrashAndrews or on Twitter, twitter.com/Crash_Andrews. I couldn't get Crash Andrews over. Anybody knows anybody at Twitter? I'd love to have twitter.com/CrashAndrews. Not Crash_Andrews. I digress. Episode 1 of What If, and we're going to keep Wayne Gretzky on the Kings with SnipeNScore's 1997 rosters. Now, this is recorded on day 1 of roster sharing in an NHL game. This is absolutely amazing. Now, if you go in here and do download community files, SnipeNScore has done a great job of doing the retro files. Of course, Toogie24 up there, the king of the mountain, with his rosters if you want the current ones. But we're going to go back to 1997. Throwback 971. Now, we're going to use 971. Technically, 972 is after the trade deadline. Okay? Before the trade deadline is 971. After the trade deadline's 972, we've already downloaded the 971. So let's get into it. And we're actually going to move Wayne Gretzky to the Los Angeles Kings. I thought for some reason we'd be able to trade for him. I forgot the dark ages of the Los Angeles Kings. I'm going to move Ray Ferraro because I don't like him. Just don't. So there you go. Ray Ferraro goes to the New York Rangers in our what if scenario, and Wayne Gretzky is still on the Los Angeles Kings. Owner mode's going to be off. Salary cap's going to be on. CPU trades, I'm going to keep on because I want to see what the CPU actually comes up with trades in this bizarre world. We are going to take player morale off because we're not going to do any line changes. We're not going to promise any more ice time or anything like that. But we are going to let the head coach edit the lines for us for pretty much the exact same reason. So one of the other things that we're going to do here, because we are going month by month, is we are going to be taking injuries off. Basically, I don't want to have to deal with, what if Wayne Gretzky was still on the Los Angeles Kings and he gets a season-ending injury in like the first couple weeks. So we are going to turn injuries off just for the fun of it. We don't really need to play around with anything else. Let's start this career. We're going to keep salary cap on. We'll take a look at the lineups before we start running things, and we're also not going to accept any trades that are offered our way, no matter how good they are. Kevin Stevens. Yeah, we still want it on. Kevin Stevens, Wayne Gretzky, Dmitry Kristich, Siplikov, who I'm not familiar with, Eddie Olchuk, Yannick Perreault, Vitaly Yakimenev, Ian LaPerriere, Kai Nurmanen, I'm not familiar with, Craig Johnson, Matt Johnson, Dan Blyzma, Stanley Cup winning head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins, yes, did play for the Los Angeles Kings. Defense. Matthias Nordstrom and Rob Blake. What a stellar first two that is. Sean O'Donnell and Philip Boucher. Steve Finn, Doug Smolik is your back end. And then, am I the only one who does this, by the way? You always get the wrong trigger. Always do that for some reason. Stephane Fiset and Lord Byron Defoe. Beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to run through the regular season and the first month, and we'll see how the scoring does. We'll see the trades that the computer comes up with as well throughout the season. We're going to decline trade. I should edit my trade block, actually, and take everybody off. And it's still going to offer me trades no matter what I do anyway. So let's just run through it. Now, one of the interesting things with SnipeNScore's rosters is he's actually got international teams with the Vegas Golden Knights and the Seattle Kraken, just so that those teams he couldn't remove, but he couldn't replace them with anything else. So very creative roster SnipeNScore did here. First month, 5-2-2 to start the season. Dmitry Kristich is your point leader. That is a bit of a surprise. Wayne Gretzky with point per game, 1 goal, 9 assists. This is late stage Wayne Gretzky. He's technically already on the New York Rangers. So He wasn't necessarily scoring in buckets anymore the way he did in the late 90s and early 2000s. Eddie Olchuk, Siplikov is there. Your goaltending. See, I did it again. Goalies, Stefan Fiset, 5-1-1 with a 9.38 1.84. Beautiful start, Stefan Fiset. You know what? Let's take a look. Actually, I want to take a look at the league leaders. We're not going to look at the league leaders every time, but we definitely want to do it here. Entire league, your leading scorer is Ray Shepard with 14 points. Larry Murphy with 14. Yager, okay, Yager makes sense with 13. Straka with 13. Sundin with 13. Tony Monte. The rest of it looks okay, but Larry Murphy and Ray Shepard being your leaders is delightful. Goaltending leaders, Mike Richter, okay, 7 wins. That makes sense. Belfour, Brodeur, Czechmanic, Fiset up there doesn't quite make sense, but we're going to run with it because he's our goalie. Save percentage. Robert Esch, in 2 appearances, is at a 9.78 save percentage with a .65 goals against average. Andrei Trefilov, a 9.69 1.21. Jason Muzzatti, by the way, look at this. Played for the Flames, played for the Flames, played for the Flames. Rick Tabaracci, probably on the Flames. There you go. I love it. I love this so much. Okay. Good to see Mike Vernon. 3 starts, 3 wins. One of them a shutout, a 9.57 with a 1 goal against average. Kelly Rudy on the Sharks. Okay. Prusek with an overtime loss. Probably gave up 1 goal in a 2-1 game. These rosters are beautiful. Beautiful. Let's run through the next month. So we are 11-6-4, second to the Calgary Flames in the division. Dmitry Kristich still leading in scoring over Wayne Gretzky. 95 overall, Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky is 4th in scoring. Second is Ed Olchuk. Siplikov is 3rd, only beating Wayne Gretzky in the standings because he has got 6 goals to Wayne Gretzky's 3. Our goaltending, Stefan Fiset, 9.3 with 1 shutout and a 9.26 2.44 goals against average. Lord Byron, average at best. Let's run another month and then we'll take another look at the league's stats. But 19-9-7, still on pace, still in second. The Flames still in first. We have a game in hand and are 3 points back of said Calgary Flames, which, again, as we talked about, we did beat at the beginning of that month. Dmitry Kristich still leading in scoring. Wayne Gretzky picking up a lot of apples to tie Kristich in points. But again, Kristich, more goals, gets him higher up on the list. Siplikov doing great, 26 points, 35 games. Very balanced scoring, which you kind of love to see. Goalie Stefan Fiset, 15-4-3 with 2 shutouts, 9.22 2.32. Byron Defoe's numbers getting a little bit more respectable. Let's actually take a look at the I'm going to take a look at the league scoring. Mario Lemieux, 41 points. Brian Leach in second place with 41 points as well. Ray Shepard has dropped. Leach is interesting in scoring. The rest of the way, Martin Straka, Pavel Bure, Ray Shepard, again, questionable. Peter Nedved, Matt Sundin, John Leclerc. Arn Ruchinski's a little questionable up there as well. Not as questionable as defenseman Brian Leach. Legend, probably not second in scoring when it all comes down to it. Wins, Ed Belford leads the way with wins. Less games played puts him in first. Mike Richter with 19 as well. Sean Burke with 17. Patrick Waugh, Curtis Joseph with 17 and 16 respectively. Tom Barrasso with 16. Trevor Kidd, the legend. He had the greatest goalie get up too. I think when I edit this video, I'm going to put a picture of him right here. Andy Moog and Oli the goalie, Olaf Kolzik, is so amazing. So amazing. Robert Esch still got a pretty decent save percentage. Rusek up there as well. Darcy Wakalak. There's a name. 937 in 10 games played. Mike Vernon up there as well still. Looks like Osgood might be the starter in Detroit with Mike Vernon playing backup well. Doing fantastic for them. I want to always keep my eyes on the trades that happen in the league. So let's go take a look at that. See if any trades have happened. Player and pick trading. Nothing. Nothing so far. Interesting. We do have a trade deadline in this league as well. So let's get closer to that trade deadline by getting through January. Let's go back and revisit as we start a 3-game losing streak. Started with Arizona, Phoenix, whichever you want to call them in this, I guess, you know. Were they even? They were probably still Winnipeg at this point. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 game win streak right there. Now we are in the middle of a 3-game losing streak. So we go into Long Island and get a win. Let's go. Beautiful month. Beautiful month. We actually overtake the Oilers and the Flames. The Oilers on our tail. The Flames dropping down to 61 points in 50 games. We've got 65 in 49. 1 point up and 1 game in hand against the Edmonton Oilers. Wayne Gretzky finally taking his spot at the top of the scoring as far as this team is concerned. Kristich in second, Stevens, Olczyk. This is starting to really... I still love the balanced scoring, except for Gretzky and Kristich. They're really stepping up. Stevens with 35, Olczyk with 35, Siplikov with 33, Perreault with 32. Goaltending 23, 5 and 3 with a 931, 204. Stéphane Fessé standing on his head. Byron Defoe dropped down under 9 at 326. Now, like I said, if we were doing a franchise where I actually am fighting to win the Stanley Cup, I'd be looking at trading Byron Defoe at this point, just not cutting it. But this is all in the hands of the sim gods. We're going to leave it as is. Now, Gretzky's 52. See where that actually puts him in the league lead race. 58 for Lemieux. So he's actually in there now. Lemieux, Leach is 2. Buray's 3. Leach is 2. Jeez. Straka 4. Lindros with 5. 6 is Leclerc. 7's Modano. So he is 8th in scoring, tied with Leclerc and Modano. But again, goals count for the tiebreaker as far as that goes. Kristich is number 9 as well. So we've got 2 in the top 10 in scoring. The only other teams really that have that on first look is Lindros and Leclerc for the Philadelphia Flyers. So we're at the top of the division. We've got 2 players in the top 10 in scoring. Looks like we have an Olympic break, which again, not 1997. The Olympics with 1997's rosters would have been amazing. Double IHF. Imagine if you could actually make a Team Canada roster with this squad. I guess 98 they did. Nagano. Nagano was the first time they went, wasn't it? In 98. So, I mean, international isn't out of the realm of possibility. Not too many games there. You know what? I'm going to skip to... let's skip through. We're going to skip through the trade deadline. We will take a look at the trades afterwards, just to see if any trades were done through the season. So far, we haven't seen any. We haven't been looking all that hard either. But it'd be interesting to see what the computer does running. It really doesn't matter what we do here. We're just going to continue simming. All right, so Papasil in a first for Kirk Muller, Jamie McCowan, and Mike Craig. Jamie McCowan goes back to the Calgary Flames. Kirk Muller, who's now an assistant coach with the Calgary Flames, joins the team. That's an interesting trade. That's a very interesting trade. They are loading up. Interesting. Okay. Anything else? No, nothing else. Okay, so here's the trades that went down 20th. Dan Cloutier goes to Tampa Bay. He did play for Tampa Bay for a while too, did he not? That's interesting. Okay, Kirk Muller, Jamie McCowan, we saw that one. Ulanoff and Burr. Okay. Some of the teams are young gun teams too. So St. Louis acquired a couple picks for Igor Kravchuk and Shane Corson. King, Huda, and Olsen go to Boston for a couple picks and a player. I don't think that's Andrei Barkov. I don't think that's that Andrei Barkov. But Roman Turk goes to Minnesota. Interesting. Stefan Matteau, Trent Yanni go to St. Louis from Florida. Florida wasn't in the league. I don't... maybe they were. Just trying to see if there's any other like really interesting names. Calgary acquired Darren Turcotte and Greg Hoggood for Bobby Dallas, and that scared me for a second. I was like, Yari Curry on Calgary would have been interesting, but that was the next trade. Bobby Dallas and Yari Curry go to New Jersey from Anaheim. Sylvain Turgeon goes to Washington. Derzazel gets traded. Dave Ellett and Rob Zettler from Toronto. Toronto sold like crazy. Oof Dallin. So, I mean, I guess the big one was the Flames trade. I guess New Jersey picking up Yari Curry was very interesting as well. That would have been great too to reunite Curry and Gretzky, maybe for a one of the series down the road. Actually, let's go back. Let's go take a look and see. Heading into the final month of the season, Wayne Gretzky's at 68 points in 70 games. Kristich with 66, 54, 50 for Olchuk and Perreault. Kevin Stevens with 45. Stefan Fosse, 34, 10, and 4 with a 9-2-1-2-3-3. Byron Defoe still, I mean, he's our backup, but would love to have a backup actually pick up some wins and some, yeah. It's not doing so hot. Lord Byron, figure it out. Let's go take a look and see how Gretzky's actually doing against the rest of the league. Lemieux's up there with 80, Nedved with 78, Bure with 77, Lindros 76, Leach has fallen down to 75. Our guys look like Gretzky might still be in the top 10. Forsberg is up. We haven't seen him. Adam Oates, I don't think we've seen in the top scoring as well. There's Yager. There's Kristich. So we still have two of the top scorers in the league, but they definitely dropped over the past little bit. Let's see if Calgary catches up with those big trades. But we still, as of now, lead the Pacific Division. 2 losses in a row. Make that 3. But a win against the Blackhawks. We have clinched a playoff spot. And we win out a 4-game win streak to finish off the season. Gets us at 104. We do win the Pacific Division again. The alignment is the current alignment as opposed to the classic alignment of 1997. Again, that would be a huge add to franchise to be able to go with some of the retro styles of alignments and overtime. I think that would be a huge add. Gretzky with 76 points, Kristich with 74, Olchuk, Perreault, Stevens, and Siplikov, as we've talked about. Goalies, Stefan Fosse, 39 wins. Not too shabby. 13 losses, 4 overtime losses, 7 shutouts, a 9-2-2-2-3-0, and then a 9-3, 8-9-3, and a 3-0-8 for Byron Defoe. Let's go see who won the scoring title. I am going to guess it is Mario Lemieux. He kind of held on to it the entire way. Except for the first month. It's Ray Shepherd. Eric Lindros out of nowhere. Eric Lindros was down like where Nedved was. Ends up winning your Art Ross with 96 points in 82 games. The scoring is interesting as well because they were still scoring at about 120 points per season clip. So that would be one thing that I'm going to talk to SnipeNScore about. Sliders. We didn't touch sliders at all either. So that could be one of the things that changes. Now, we are still doing the 1-8. Again, the playoffs are not the tree as they were in 1997, but we do get the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. Sim through the first three as we normally do in franchise, and we're down 3-1. A sweep is potentially coming. We'll sim the game. 1-1 after one. Rob Blake for us and Rem Murray for the Edmonton Oilers. No scoring after two. I don't know why I'm doing it this way, because I'm so used to doing it this way with franchise, but we legitimately don't have anything on the line in this game. We just want to see how Wayne Gretzky would fare back on the LA Kings. Less than 2 minutes to go. It is heading to overtime. You know what? We're just going to skip through. First overtime solves nothing. 54 shots for the Edmonton Oilers, 34 shots for the LA Kings. Game over. The Kings stave off elimination. Dan Blyzma on Curtis Joseph in the second overtime period. We head to a game 5. We'll sim this game. After one, Serwowski, I don't recognize his name, for Edmonton. Stevens and Stevens, 2 goals for Kevin Stevens for the LA Kings. Shots are pretty much evened up. Ed Olchuk for the LA Kings makes it 3-1. It is a 3-2 win. Jason Arnott makes it close for the Edmonton Oilers, but the Kings make it a 3-2 series. Game number 6 in Edmonton. I don't know if I clicked play game and it didn't register or not, but either way, we take a 2-0 lead. Siplikov and Olchuk. Eddie Olchuk makes it 2-0 for the Kings after 1 period of play. Ryan Smith and Rem Murray get 2 for Edmonton, but Philip Boucher makes it 3-2 for the LA Kings. It is tied. Kelly Buchberger ties things up. 4:50 in. We head to overtime. If we lose, we're out. If we win, it's a game 7. It's a game 7. Dan Blyzma, again, overtime hero. It is a game 7 against the LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers in LA. Let's sim this one. 1-1 after one. Siplikov and Boris Mirnov for the Edmonton Oilers. Wayne gets his first of the postseason in the second period. I kind of want to watch it. I kind of want to watch this period because it is game 7. Smitty makes it 2-2. I'm a Kings fan. I can't help it. I got to cheer for my boys. Andrei Kovalenko makes it 3-2 with less than 10 to go. Power play for the Kings. Power play for the Oilers. Nothing. 2-1. Oh, Yakhmanev. 37 seconds left. Ties it up. Go to overtime. Jason Arnott is your hero. The Edmonton Oilers advance to the second round. The Edmonton Oilers defeat the Los Angeles Kings in 7. Wayne Gretzky cannot get the Stanley Cup by staying on the LA Kings roster. Let's see his scoring. 6 points in 7 games. Leads the team. He definitely served up the apples, but did not... Oh, we're in the wrong spot here. Wayne Gretzky definitely served up the apples, but it did not result in wins. 6-5 and 5 for Siplikov and Kristich. 4-4 for Johnson. Actually showed up. Dan Blyzma only scored in overtime. It's only time he did anything, which is awesome. It was so good to see his name pop up as the 2 overtime goal scorers. 3-2 and 2. 9-2, 3-2, 4-0. Cannot fault Stefan Fiset very much. I mean, we did have to see Byron Defoe in one of them. There were 2 overtime losses? Question mark? Oh, we lost the first one in overtime because we skipped through it. So we lost the first 3. Won the game 4, game 5, game 6, game 4, and game 6 went to overtime. Dan Blyzema, the winners there. And then Jason Arnott getting your overtime winner in game 7. Only 1 game went past a 1-goal differential, and it was 2 in game 3. Let's sim through just to see who actually ends up winning. We'll sim the draft. I love that Wayne Gretzky's number 98 because you can't take 99 in this game. The Dallas Stars are your Stanley Cup winners. We're not going to view retired players. There's no point. Let's take a look at how the Dallas Stars actually got there. Colorado beat Chicago. Dallas beat the Ducks. The Flames lost in 7 to Vancouver. And the Kings lost again to 7 to the Edmonton Oilers. Dallas beat Colorado. The Oilers swept through Vancouver. Dallas beat the Oilers, as they did in that era. Dallas going to the Stanley Cup Finals against the New York Rangers. Let's go the other way here. Philly lost out to Washington in 5. The Rangers handled the Detroit Red Wings in 5. Buffalo beat Montreal in 4. And Boston beat New Jersey in 4. New Jersey and Calgary making those big splashes at the trade deadline, and it didn't really work out for them. Boston beating Buffalo in 6, and it took 6 games for the New York Rangers to beat the Washington Capitals. 6 games again for the Rangers against the Boston Bruins, and Dallas beating the Rangers in 7 to claim their cup. Let's take a look at some of the awards here. Dallas Stars, Dallas Stars, Dallas Stars, New York Rangers. The Dallas Stars ended up getting the President's Trophy as well, which is cool to see. Individual awards. Eric Lindros, your Art Ross, Hart Memorial. Brian Leach, your Norris, not a surprise. Lady Bing to a defenseman is interesting. I love that it's counting it as 21-22 as well. Eric Lindros with the Calder. Oh. Eric Lindros is not a rookie. I wonder if all of these guys are rookies. If they're classified as rookies. I'm going to have to check with SnipeNScore on that one. Jamie Langdon-Brenner with the Conn Smythe. Patrick Waugh with the Vezina and the William Jennings. Derek Morris. So Winnipeg was Phoenix. Because Derek Morris was on Phoenix, but technically Winnipeg. Bill Masterson Memorial Trophy. Jack Adams going to Boston's coach. Frank J. Selke to Lemieux. Lindros with the Ted Lindsay. Maurice Rocket-Richard going to Lemieux. So again, Wayne Gretzky cannot close it out. Can't even get out of the first round had he stayed with the Los Angeles Kings in 1997. So there you have it. What if? What if Wayne Gretzky stayed with the Los Angeles Kings using SnipeNScore's Xbox Next Gen rosters, and we moved Ray Ferraro to the New York Rangers, where Wayne Gretzky was in 1997 after being traded from the LA Kings to the St. Louis Blues, finished out that season with St. Louis into the playoffs, and then went to New York as a free agent heading into the 96-97 season. But we moved him back. He did well in the regular season. The team did well, winning the division in the regular season, but could not get out of the first round. Tell you what, that's what if. Let's find some crazy things to do. Hit up the comments with things you'd like to see. Current roster stuff, past roster stuff. Now, I'm not going to go and change roster, so it does have to be one of SnipeNScore's Xbox Next Gen, which I think he has 97 and 07 rosters. Tugi24 has some very interesting current day rosters. He's tweaked them, and so far I've heard some rave reviews about that one. But yeah, let me know what you want to see. Let's throw some chaos into franchise mode. One of the things that I want to try and do is see what would happen if we traded Matthew Tkachuk for Drew Doughty. One of the greatest rivalries in hockey right now. And what would happen if we switch those two players? Put Drew Doughty on the Calgary Flames and Matthew Tkachuk on the Los Angeles Kings. Let me know in the chat what ideas you might have, what you want to see us mess around with in franchise mode here, and we'll do it here on What If. I'm Crash Andrews. You can check me out twitch.tv/CrashAndrews, or check me out on Twitter as well. Very active over there. Twitter.com/Crash_Andrews. And if you know the guy who's got Crash Andrews, just tell him to get off of it. He hasn't used it. Delete your account. I want that name. Get rid of the underscore. Again, thank you guys. Hit the like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And hey, see you on the next one.